I wanted to get on real quick and do a live cast demo of my of the Tim Holtz inks. So we're gonna get started here. All I have in front of me is just a piece of MDF. It's just a plain piece of MDF that I'm going to go ahead, or that I've already primed and have ready to go. In a lot of cases, you'll see people go through and sand their canvases just to get down to where it's real nice, flat, and smooth. I'm not going to go through all that mess. It's not worth it. Plus, I kind of like the streaks that you can see in it. But this is what I have. The other supplies that I have out that I am working with today is I have the Tim Holtz stencils, and I have a couple different ones that I've pulled out that I'm planning on using. And I really like his stencils because they come in a tag shape and they're punched with a hole in the top. So these really work well for being able to store them because they're small and they're super easy to deal with. I like these. Now, I've got these out, and these are very well loved, and I need to be better at cleaning them because some of them are rather dirty. But when you get them new, and I've got a couple of new ones, because he comes out with some almost every year, they come packaged in packages like this. And these are the backgrounds I was talking about that I used to pop up stuff the other day. And they're nice to hold on to because they're pretty. The only other supply that I've got out here with me is going to be my mini distress inks. Now, I like them in the mini format because they're good for traveling. He sells these tins that they come in, and I really like that. Plus, if the camera will pick it up, you can kind of see in there. There's a little bit of a lip in there, so these aren't gonna move around a lot. They're held in place. Plus, what else is nice about these that I really do appreciate is they're the size of his little foam inking pads to stick to, if I can get one out. And I just keep these face down inside the bottom. Now, if you're using a tool, that makes it really easy to pick up the Velcro because these do have the soft Velcro on the back. This makes it really easy to pick up a tool with them. But I don't ever really find myself using a tool. I always just use my hands, and I know that's probably going to make me get dirtier, but I don't care because I'm an art person and that's what I do. So a couple of qualities that I like about his inks that it's extra that I do enjoy is on his ink pads. You'll notice that, especially from the side view, his ink pad is raised off the packaging. It's not stuck to the base. And I really like that because it gives you extra ground to be able to ink with and just to get onto your craft mat, which is the surface that I'm working on. And I just really like that. And like I said, he carries the full size, but I like, just for working in tiny spaces and not being able to get out and get super messy, I like just the smallness of his ink pads, and they store away very nicely. And I, of course, have all of them, so I have my happy little pile of all my inks right here. Hi guys. So I don't really have any plans for what we're gonna do today, other than the stencils that I've picked out. And I really wanted to do this video today because I know that some of you have been asking me, and some of you have been really interested in how I do my backgrounds. So I'm going to do that. Now, I am working in landscape today versus portrait. I just wanted to change things up a bit. So, to get started, my main thing when I'm working with these is just to not go in with my darkest ink first. You don't want to do that. So you want to stay light first, and I'm starting out, I have just this cube stencil that I'm going to start with. So that's where we're going to start, and I'm starting with Tim's Twisted Citron, real bright, pretty green. Like I said, I don't use the tool, but you can get a little hand tool that looks a lot like, you can get a hand tool that looks a lot like this, but it's round on the bottom instead of square, that you can use with this ink pads and stencils. But I don't mess with it. It's not worth it to me. But I'm just going to start out. I want to keep this relatively straight. So I'm just going to kind of line this up with the edge. And I'm just going to press a little bit. Now, I'll probably go back to it 3 or 4 times before it's all said and done. But this is where I'm starting. And I'm really just kind of circular motions, really just to work in the ink. And I'm not looking to completely cover the entire stencil. I'm just looking to be able to kind of work it around, because I'm going to, or I think what I'm going to do is work with a more kind of linear canvas. So I'm going to move this, and then I'm just going to try to, as best I can, match it back up. And I'll just pick back up in with my color. Now, yes, I do realize with this stencil, I probably could have just turned it and worked with it long ways, but I'm working kind of outside of what that would have worked for me, so this works for right now. But I'm just picking up ink and laying it down, sticking again with that circular motions. You really don't want to go up and down, because some of these stencils do have little delicate pieces that stick out, and I don't want to damage any of that. But like I said, I'm just going to work across here with this, and then we'll start in with something different. And I've never really worked kind of in a linear format, kind of like this. I'm not doing a whole page like I normally do. Normally with the inks, I'm working relatively small, and I'm doing something, just covering like a 4x6 page or something like that. So this is a little bit different for me, but we're going to see where it goes. So I think I'm going to be finished with this for now, and we'll pick back up on something different. I think I'm kind of feeling blues and greens with this. So I'm going to kind of move in from that stencil to one of my bigger stencils. I think I do kind of want to be able to do some rays out from here. So I think this is, of course, when I say rays, here's what I'm working with. So I'm going to lay this out here like this. And I'm going to come in with a yellow, but I'm going to come in with a really bright yellow. This yellow is squeezed lemon. There again, I've got my foam in the back of the pad. and I'm just using that to pick up color, and I'm laying that down. These are water soluble, so if you're going ink on top of ink, sometimes you do have a little bit of cross contamination, and I just wiggled that. But normally it comes right up. Boop. And for right now, I'm not taking this completely to the edge because I don't know exactly what I'm going to do, and I don't want to create a hard line. But I'm just kind of getting in the idea of kind of some rays up at the top. And I really don't go into any of these with a plan. It's always just kind of wherever I feel that the pattern takes me or whatever speaks to me is what I go with. So, you know, you just kind of play with it and see what you like. I'm going to open up one of these new ones. And like I said, I do keep the packaging because, as you can see, it's this real pretty kind of deckled leather looking background. I like them. They're pretty. They cut up well. So I'll keep that, and then I'll get rid of the plastic. And I think I'm going to kind of tone things down. I'm going to get out this bundled sage, just kind of a softer green, darker, softer. And this, I'm really just kind of wanting the hints of it. So I'm starting in just kind of in places. I'm really wanting to just lay in a little bit of pattern. And I'll turn this around for you guys in a second. Okay, so for right now, let me get the lid back on this. For right now, here's what I'm kind of working with. And I'm liking this, but personally, I like bright colors, but I like things grunged a little too. So one of my number one things that I kind of do on my distress ink stuff is I kind of will vignette things, and I always vignette in layers. I'm gonna go with the soft vignette first, and that's something that I can really feather in from the edge fairly deep. And then as I get on layers, I'll layer in some darker browns and some other colors that can really be used in the piece. So I'm going to take this color, which is tea dye. It's just a brown. And I'm just going to kind of come in from the edge, and I'm just kind of massaging that in around the edge of my work. And I'm not worried about how big my circles are, how deep it's going in. I'm just working my edge. In this live stream, I'm just going to be doing the background for you guys. I'll be back on in a little bit where I will do the actual piece. I'm also working on building up a YouTube page. I don't want to miss the live casts because I like the interactions of them, but I'm going to see if I can save those onto my phone so they can go up onto YouTube as well. So I'm working on my page that I'm building for my artwork under the name Distressed Glam Art Boudoir. I really just wanted something that kind of encompassed my jewelry and my mixed media work and just kind of everything that I did. And as I said before, I've had Simply Chic that I've kind of used for a long time with my jewelry, but I didn't really feel like that fit for the mixed media. And since my stuff tends to be a little bit grungier anyways, I really kind of felt like this was the better name. The thing about my work though, or my page though, is it is a group. It's a public group, so anybody can see any of the information on there. But I did not want to go with a page again because Facebook is really pressuring their pages right now that are set up as business pages, and I'm constantly getting hits of pay for this ad and hit 1,000 people and everything like that. I'm not ready to go there, so I'm keeping it into a group. I will still be able to sell from a group and access everything that I'm wanting to access. It's just not going to be quite as huge as what a page was and not as invasive from my end on advertising. So I've kind of vignetted things and done things the way that I want. And I think I'm wanting to take this kind of a more graffiti feel. So I think I'm going to switch things up. I've got this brick stencil right now. I'm not sure how well you guys can see that. I've got this brick stencil out right now. And I'm going to switch up colors and pull out, of course, my fired brick. This is just a nice brick red. I like this color. He's got a really good color palette with his inks as well. There's a few things that I think I wish I had in his inks, but not a lot. And with this brick red, I'm really just kind of looking to kind of vignette my work again, because I still want that feel of, I want the design to stand out. I just want the feel that it's on brick. So I'm just kind of softly working things in there. And you'll notice that even when it doesn't look like I've got a lot of color there, you'll lift up and there really is going to be a fair amount of color in there. So I'm just going to kind of work around here. And this piece, I don't know, we'll see where it goes. I haven't worked like this before, so this is new for me too. And then I think we will touch just right up here too. Okay. So I've laid in some brick pattern and really just kind of given this kind of some framework to it. Got just kind of a different vibe going on with this. So, we'll just keep adding layers and things and see kind of where it goes. I think the next thing we need to start with is, I think I'm wanting just some bold patterns. And that's really kind of the mix that I do, is layering small patterns with large patterns, kind of your mid-tone patterns. I save my tiny stuff for the end because you never really know where that's going to peek through and not. I'll show a trick in a minute. Excuse the dogs. I'll show a trick towards the end that I like to do with one of the colors of inks that really looks good if you do it well. I'm going to go in, I think I'm going to do this in purple. So I'm just going to go in with purple. This is Dusty Concord. And I'm going to stay kind of fairly light-handed with it. And I think I mainly want this kind of right around the edge of the brick. But we'll just kind of feather it in different places. And I like these because they're translucent, so you still get the other patterns that kind of poke through. And so that's where I think I really like that, because like in here, not so much in where I did it darker, but like down here in the lighter spots of this kind of Moroccan pattern, you can still see the brick underneath, and I think that's where the strong suit of these inks last. So I probably will not wind up using all of these inks that I have picked out, or all these stencils. I keep mixing words. But we'll see what we use. I'm going in with barn door right now. It's a brighter red. And there again, I'm just gonna layer color and things on top, because I want this to have a new vibe, but I want to nod to some of the older stuff too with it. So all of these I just stick with turning circles with them, just because I've got a couple that I didn't do that, and you wind up bending up the edges of the stencils. And I keep all of these on a binder ring, and there are several of them that are bent, that they're always sticking to each other. I think right now we're going to go into some blues, and I'm going to get out Mermaid Lagoon, a brighter blue. And I really think we're gonna dig into some of these arrows. He's got this one stencil that's just kind of got all different arrows in it, and I really like this stencil. So we're going to go in and just add some different arrows. And now with stuff like this, I do want to make sure I get the full thing inked and then I get it dark because I'm wanting these to be prominent. And I may use these and just kind of do them in spaces where if I want to kind of hide things, I can. If I'm wanting to kind of mask something out, I can do that with this. The darker colors do cover really well. So that's why when you work, you don't always want to go with your strongest color first. I really kind of weigh the power of the colors and what I want to really kind of show through in places and things. But I just will play with this until I'm happy with it, and once I'm happy with it, I'll stop. And then sometimes, even if I'm not happy with it, I'll cover it up with something and we'll go again. But I think right now what I want to do is I'm still seeing too much white because of this cube pattern that I did. So I'm going to go in and we're going to ghost in a pattern. Just FYI, I hate the way my hands look on camera. I look like I've got little 5-year-old hands. I'm going in right now with a color called Old Paper. And it's a neat way just to kind of get a ghosted effect. You'll see the pattern, but it will not be quite as prominent, and it kind of fades out everything else. And I can really work that color over, kind of over the surface of everything, because you'll see it, but you won't unless you're looking at it. And it lays down good as just background texture. But I think right now we're going to vignette things again. I went in with tea dye first, and now I'm going to go in with vintage photo, which is just a little bit darker brown. Sometimes I like the labels, but sometimes the labels don't always give the true value of what the color is. So, you may want to swatch these out just to see what they look like and keep kind of a swatch book for you to kind of flip through, because sometimes I don't feel like the labels necessarily give you a good vibe of what the color looks like. I've got several in here. One that I thought was a brown for a long time, and then got to looking at it and it turned out it was more green than anything. But when I'm vignetting in my second color, I'm letting that lighter color kind of poke through at the edges, and then I'm just kind of covering up some with the darker color. And I may kind of hit and miss in places, but I'm just going to let things kind of poke in and out as I want them to. I'll turn this around after I vignette this. Now these will react with a spray bottle. I'm not going to spray this on here, But you can hit these with some water. Let's see. I've got a couple different spray bottles, but I keep just kind of a spray bottle like this on my workspace. That you can hit these with a spray bottle, let the water sit for a minute, and then just kind of lay a towel over it and they'll pull it up and it will pick up ink. It works really good and it looks cool for kind of a water droplet effect. I'm thinking we need some words in here now. The words, I think I am going to do those in brown. I've got out walnut stain, which is again just a darker brown. But I'm going to pull this out here. And I'm going in, this stencil, if you can see, has a mix of, well, we'll turn it around, has a mix of numbers, it's got some letters in it, it's got just kind of a mix of different words and things. So I'm going to go in here for the word lost and just kind of start filling in. Some of these inks I've used so much, they're starting to get dried out. And these you can have re-inkers purchased for these, which means that you don't have to spend this money on the pad again, and the re-inker will refill your ink pad like 5 or 6 different times. So they really do make these, as much as you have to invest on as much as you have invested in the ink pads, you don't have to feel like you're going to have to constantly purchase those. Sorry, family's in the background doing things, if you could hear them talking. I'm just kind of going in with, just kind of framing up. I think what I'm going to kind of do is work with a focal point kind of right in here, and then kind of feather out along from right kind of in the middle of my focal mixed media work. So we'll see kind of where that goes. I think I'm going to do some kind of scratchy circles and things like that. So we'll see. I think we are going to do one more. And I think we're going to stick with these numbers up here. Okay. So I just kind of feathered in that. I didn't really care if it was too bright, but I felt like it needed something. Dog entered the room. So I think we are going to do some blue in this again. Let's see, what blue do I want? I try to have these color coded, but they don't all fit in one box perfectly. I think we're going to go in with some dots, and I have peacock feathers, kind of a turquoise color. And there again, that's just kind of feathering color in. And then I want just a few up here around this 13. You know, there's a lot of people that have feelings about using stencils in their work, saying, you know, that it's not not original and what have you. To me, I feel like that's why this person made these. And these aren't any, like, incredibly amazing patterns that I couldn't come up with myself. And a lot of them I have used before myself and just done them by hand or something. And to me, there's no shame in using stencils in your work. This designer has made it a means for us to be able to use, so I'm using. And there's no shame in that. There really isn't. So, I really think right now I'm wanting to see what this looks like cooled down. I gotta get up just a second. My dog has stuck herself in my room. Go. Go. Okay. Closed door. No doggies. Oop. And I'll turn this around real quick for you guys. So not only does it give things kind of vignetting the edges, not only does it give it just kind of that aged frame, it also gives it kind of that old paper, kind of burned feeling. So it just gives you space to be able to play with things. And I just really like the way that looks. So I'm going to go in and vignette out with black. I'm not going to try to step any further. This black is his black soot. And I love all the names of his stuff. It's not just one like color, like sage green or whatever. They're cute little names. But now with this, I'm really just, it's not as much that I'm wanting black as it is, I'm really wanting to just, or solid black I should say. I'm really just wanting to kind of finish out this edge. And I think that's really the key to making things feel old and just kind of rustic, is being able to vignette and finish out your pieces like that. And you can see at this point, I'm really just barely even getting on the ink to the edge of my piece. It's more or less just kind of scraping it than it is actually getting on it. Now I'm doing all of this on a piece of MDF, which does have some of its limitations as far as the inks. If you get one of his craft mats, or you can do it on the cooking sheets and things, you can lay down his ink on a pad. Mine's really dirty right now. I need to clean it. You can lay down ink on here and really just get color down. And when you get that color down, you can spray it with water, and you can kind of smush around a piece of paper to pick up color and really get some cool kind of tie-dyed effects and things. So I can come back on and do paper in a little bit, or probably tomorrow or something I can do paper. And just kind of show you the kind of different things that you can get with his inks on paper versus just a piece of MDF. So I think I'm almost done with this for a background. The only thing I think I am gonna do is I do want to add in I'm going to point the finger. I'm going to get out this stencil, and as much as I want it to have the modern, bright feel to it, I gotta stick to my older, kind of more vintage vibes of my stuff. So, I think we're gonna go in here with this, and I think we're gonna maybe ghost it. I'm not sure yet. I think I want this pointing out away from my work. And when I'm doing these two, what I'm thinking about is the way I'm wanting to build my cluster. So if I'm wanting to build my cluster with the focal of it being here, I don't want to put my focus and put a lot of stuff in here because you're not going to see it. I want to keep my stuff to the edges to where it's going to peek through and you're going to get those feelings and those vibes of things. And I know I kind of really didn't go with that when I put down this cube pattern, but you'll see it in places, and I'll do the finished piece on here so you can kind of get a vibe of everything and see it. But right now I am going in with brushed corduroy. Sure, pick that up. And I'm going to do this finger. And there again, I just like these because of the translucency of them and the layerability of them and things like that. I said earlier that these inks are water soluble. I don't have any, but he does make, and when I say he, it's Tim Holtz, the designer of the product. He does make a product that he calls Distress Glaze, and it comes in a little container and you just rub it on with your finger, and it's a product that you can cover a piece with if you're wanting it to be permanent. Otherwise, his pieces will always react to water. This isn't a case of, oh, well, it'll dry and then it won't be water soluble anymore. No, these pieces will always be water reactive. Even with sealers. So if you're going to seal a piece that you're doing with these, you definitely want to get get the Distress Glaze, seal them with the glaze, and then seal them with like Mod Podge or a polyurethane or anything like that, because otherwise they will, even with glues, I can put down glues or like a gel medium or something on top of these and it's going to react. So his glaze is nice if you're going to want to seal your pieces. And I think I'm going to go to one more stencil, and that's just going to be this real kind of gentle dot fade. It fades out from small dots into bigger dots towards the center. And I like, the other thing I like about his stencils is they're all kind of just imperfect. They're never ever just the same space apart. They're all just a little bit different in ways and places, and I like that. So I'm going in with tea dye again, and I'm just going to kind of shadow in some of this dot pattern. Sticking with that round movement, circles, keeps everything going. And I just kind of will move kind of around my piece, and it's something that in a lot of places you really are not going to notice it unless you're up close looking to it, but it's those little moments and those little things like that that I think really make these pieces interesting. But I think I'm calling it for this background. I think I am going to go in later and add in some little lines and things with my micron. But you can just kind of notice all the different little patterns and bits that you can see within the layerability of the inks. They really are pretty, and that's what I love about these. So they're really pretty, and I really like them. So this is it for this. I'm gonna get on here and probably doodle with my micron a little on this piece and figure out kind of where I want to take this piece, and I will be, if I'm not back on with this piece, I will definitely have pictures up on my Distress Glam Art Boudoir page. So come like me on there, join me. It is a group. I'm not doing a page because I don't want to be hit with ads. And I'll have pictures on there. And I will talk to you later, guys. Bye.